Hi everyone, it's Regia. Coming to you today because I recently read Alice Walker's Hard Times Require Furious Dancing poetry book, and I kind of had a response poem that I wanted to share, but I'll get into that later. Um, there's a poem in the book called In Us that I'll read. Um, that kind of prompted a response out of me, particularly regarding the aspect of trust and how we as Black people have a hard time trusting. And we kind of do this by balancing various identities when it comes to being in white spaces and Black spaces and then in our own spaces. Um, but I'm going to read the poem for you. It's called In Us. It's on page 28. She says, In us, the old dark Indians reappear, who were not wrong, though chopped in half for living on their sacred lands. In us, the old dark Indians reappear, silent disclosing our massacres by our lack of trust, silent, unmoved by word or deed, straight of back and silent above all in our wooden chairs. And so I'm not really sure if, you know, um, if she meant to be, to say Indian in regard of like Native Americans, but Native Americans would be the proper term if she was talking about Native Americans. Um, but the aspect that I wanted to particularly pay attention to, where she says, um, and the old dark Indians reappear silent, disclosing our massacres by our lack of trust. Um, that kind of made me think about how I view trust in society today. And so I had a response poem to that, in which I'm going to read. And I said, maybe I have trouble trusting because when I opened my heart to you, you crushed it and used the juices to soil your evil. With my love, you took my hand and made my body a fucking pot, a base to grow, expand, but never for my expense, only for you and your roses that will die soon, poised by the blood of hatred instead of the blood of love. So that was my response. And I kind of just thought about, like slavery was not something that easily you can just get over 400 years of that. A lot of people have this aspect of, you know, trauma being something that is easily forgotten or easily healable, and it's not. If anything, I've learned from my entire field study this semester that it's not something that you can just heal in a certain amount of days. It's not. It takes years, especially for your body to relieve that trauma and stress from your hormones, from um, your heart, from the neuron transmitters, like everything. And so, you know, I focus mostly on the aspect of how slavery wasn't for Black people to benefit from. It was particularly from white people to benefit from. And so kind of having this metaphor of turning a body into a pot, to make a flower bloom, particularly roses, because red has often been associated with white people in terms of rednecks. And then you have the whole just like red lipstick with um, red blush and stuff like that. And so I just chose roses because it's easier to assimilate with that with. Um, and so turning a body into a pot, in reference to a Black person being used as a base to grow, picking cotton every day, never to expand for its own, and basically flourish to its own potential and being able to sustain a life that's like where you own yourself. Um, and I particularly talk about the roses dying soon because ultimately white people will let their ignorance outlive them instead of actually, choosing love and letting that be something that, you know, blood be shed over. Um, Not necessarily blood be shed, but like reproduction being in a matter of like love and not necessarily slavery. Um, so I kind of went a lot of places with that poem, but I just wanted to share that because it was something that I recently like wrote on like the day after Christmas, kind of just was on my mind after reading that. It's a very powerful book, and I suggest people to read it because like you can get a lot of different things from this book. There were a lot of different other poems that I had a lot of strong feelings about, a lot of responses, a lot of things I agreed with. I love Alice Walker for writing this, and I kind of just like came across it in the library one day when I was doing some research and looking for like poetry books to just read. And I'm glad I kind of found this one, especially in my own time of healing. It's a really, really good cover. If you can see, you see, and then like there's a woman on the back, and her books kind of have, you see, like the poems are often broken down into single worded aspects and stuff. So I'd give it a read. Uh, but that's all I have to say for this particular video. Um, Please check in again to hear some more poetry and critiques I have of it, or not even critiques, but responses I have to it. That might be cool. Um, Thanks.